This isn't love. It's a trauma bond. You think you can't live without this person. You think this is love. Then why does it hurt so much? You tell yourself, this is my love. I just have to endure it. I can't leave because I'll never find a connection like this again. But what if I told you this isn't love? That it's a trap set by your own mind? That this pain isn't proof of deep feelings, but a symptom of trauma? Stay till the end of this video and you'll see the truth. This could change your life. My name is Lana Bugela. I created Method of Three Eyes, a unique approach that doesn't just scratch the surface, but goes deep, straight to the root of the problem. I help people integrate trauma so it stops running their lives. If this topic speaks to you, and if you want more eye-opening content like this, hit that subscribe button and like this video. That way, you'll see more of this content and it might change not just your life, but someone else's too. Guys, I had over 4,000 clients, and you have no idea how many people are stuck in a trauma bond thinking it's love. So let's get started. What is a trauma bond? Why does it feel like true love? People in trauma bonds believe they just love too deeply. They'll say things like, we have a connection like no other. I'll never find anything like this again. But then why does this connection feel more like chaos, pain, and constant survival rather than safety and harmony? Why do you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster? High one moment, crashing the next. Why does it feel like you can't live without this person even though being with them hurts? Let me explain, and once you get this, your idea of love will change forever. So let's get to biochemistry of a trauma bond, why you get hooked. Imagine tasting a delicious candy for the first time of your life. It's so good that you crave more. But then you find out it's highly addictive. Without it, you feel empty, irritable, like something is missing. Instead of asking why you need it so badly, you keep reaching for more. That's exactly how a trauma bond works. So what happens in your brain? When you argue with this person, your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, skyrocket. It's like getting hit. Your body reacts as if you're in danger. You feel tense, anxious, your heart races. Then comes the moment of making up. They say, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, or I just love you so much. And suddenly your brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, the pleasure and bonding hormones. So here we are, the addiction cycle. Here is what happens. Your brain starts linking pain with pleasure. It learns a pattern. If pain is always followed by relief, then this pain must be worth it. And now you feel like you can't live without this person, not because it's love, but because your brain has literally become addicted, just like to a drug. And that's why when you think about leaving, it feels like you won't survive. Because guys, you're not afraid of losing them. You're afraid of losing the chemical high they give you. So the more pain you feel, the stronger the bond seems. But this isn't love. It's your brain being chemically manipulated. Why does a deep trauma bond feel deeper than a healthy relationship? Many people who've been in toxic relationships say, I'll never love anyone this much again. And they believe it. But why? Because trauma bonds create extreme emotional highs and lows. They flood your system with adrenaline, cortisol, and dopamine, making emotions feel intensely deep. But the depth of those feelings has nothing to do with love. It's just chemical chaos. Real love isn't addictive. Real love doesn't make you suffer or feel broken. Love is when you feel safe, when you can be yourself without fear of being abandoned, betrayed, or crushed emotionally. But if you've spent your whole life in chaos, peace feels wrong. Healthy relationships feel boring. So you keep chasing emotional roller coasters thinking that's real love. But it's an illusion. Real love doesn't make you run in circles between pain and relief. It's not natural. It's not the nature of love. Now you see, a trauma bond isn't love. It's a pattern wired into your mind through childhood experiences and biochemical addiction. But if you can see it, that means you're already taking the first step toward breaking free. So why do you stay in a trauma bond? Okay, guys, so now you understand that this might not be love, but then why can't you just leave? What's really keeping you stuck? Most people think they stay in toxic relationships because of love, but that's not true. We know it. They stay because of childhood programming, fear, and the inability to imagine life without this person. And most of all, because of an energetic hook that won't let them go. But right here and right now, I want you to pay attention to what I'll say right now. When I say that something is keeping you from doing something, it's actually the opposite. You are bonding with that. You are keeping yourself from leaving, using those hooks, using those links, because you think, you really believe and think that those fears are true. Those limiting beliefs that you can't live without that person, this is the truth. You think that it's truth so deeply inside of you that you hold on to it. But it's not like that pattern has power over you. You have power over that pattern, but you choose to give away that power. And you choose to say, this is keeping me from going, but I cannot do it because this is keeping me from going away. But actually it's opposite. So now realize your power. I will talk about those links that you're making in your mind. And you're thinking that those links are true, but you have the power to unlink them inside of your being. So let's get started. First link, it's a fear of being alone. Your subconscious doesn't know who you are without them. If I told you right now, what if you had to be without this person? What would you feel? Panic, emptiness, pain? That's not love. That's addiction to their presence in your life. In childhood, if you were ignored, given the silent treatment, or abandoned emotionally, your mind learned being alone equals suffering. You built a core belief: I won't survive if I'm left behind. That's why you don't leave, even when you know it's hurting you. How to rewrite this pattern? Ask yourself, is it really true that I'll disappear if I leave? Is it really true that this is the only love I'll ever have? Your subconscious will scream, yes, but it's a lie. It's just a program, and you can change it. And you know, the truth speaks silently. It's almost whispering in your ear. It's a pattern. You can't live without this person. But the limiting belief will scream, we will die. So you need to sit still, really quiet there, and listen to that real response inside of you that is barely whispering. Second link that you are making in your subconscious: I'll never find anyone else. The program that keeps you trapped. If you're afraid that you'll never meet someone else, listen. This thought isn't really yours. It was planted in your mind. Toxic patterns often say things like, no one else will ever want you. There is no one like me. You'll be lost without me. And even if they never said it out loud, this belief might have been embedded in your mind since childhood, even with the look that your parents gave you. If you grew up in a family where love wasn't freely given, where you only received warmth when you earned it, your mind recorded a belief. Love is a rare resource. And so, if you lose this person, your subconscious tells you that you may never find love again. How do you escape this trap? Convince yourself of a new reality. You cannot see new possibilities for relationships while holding on to the old one. But the moment you let go, you'll realize that love is far more abundant than you ever thought. This person is not your last chance at love. But as long as you hold on to them, you won't be able to see something better. Third link, confusing pain with love. Your mind doesn't know a different format. I'm about to say something that might sound strange. Are you ready? You are seeking pain. And I know your first reaction is, no, I just want love. But let me explain why that's not true. If in childhood love always came with pain, for example, your mom was warm and affectionate one moment, but then punished you with silence or with physical things. Your brain learned love is when it feels good at first and then it hurts. Now, when you come across a healthy relationship where there is no chaos, no drama, no pain, you feel bored. Something feels off, like there is no passion, like there is no chemistry. But in reality, it's just missing the pain your mind has come to associate with love. Real love isn't a fire that burns you alive, it's warmth that nurtures you. Real love isn't a fire that burns you alive, it's warmth that nurtures you. But if you've spent your whole life burning, then peace feels cold. Link number 4. I can change them. The illusion of control. If you think you just need to try a little harder, that if you just show them how much you love them, they'll finally change. Let me be clear. This isn't love from your side. It's control. As a child, you lacked emotional stability, and to survive, you learned, if I'm perfect, I'll be loved. Now you've carried this into your relationship, thinking that if you are good enough, they will finally change. But here is the hard truth. You cannot change another person. People change when they decide to. And if they don't want to, you can spend another 10 years trying and you'll get nothing in return. You either accept them as they are or you leave. There is no other option. And I'm sure you've heard of the triangle where we have a victim, where we have a villain, and where we have a rescuer. So if you are a victim in a relationship, and if you are thinking about changing that person for their good, you are actually a villain too. So in that triangle, people change their roles. So in this situation, you are actually a villain because you don't accept that person for who they are, but you're trying to manipulate them. You are trying to get from them like a happy ending of your own cycle from your own childhood. If you had a father who was a tyrant and now you have a husband who is a tyrant, you subconsciously may be thinking of a happy ending. If I make this guy love me, that means that my father loved me too. So in this situation, the manipulator is actually you. Just try to think about it. It's not an offense that I'm trying to throw at you. I'm just trying to open up your mind for more information that can be helpful in going out of this painful cycle. So, summary. What's really keeping you in a trauma bond? First, we know that it's you, but how are you keeping yourself there? This isn't love. This is your mind tricking you into fearing change. This is your past convincing you to choose familiar pain over unknown happiness. And if you are listening to this right now and it hurts, that's actually good, because it means you are seeing the truth. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't live the same way again. So how to break free from a trauma bond? You've realized that this isn't love. You've seen what's really keeping you stuck. But now comes the biggest question. How do I break free from this? You can understand all the theory, but if you don't know how to apply it, you could stay stuck in this cycle for years, even realizing that this is a cycle. So I'm going to give you a clear plan that works on a deep psychological and energetic level. This isn't just about techniques, it's about rewiring your inner system so it never allows you to fall into this cycle again. But be prepared. Breaking a trauma bond isn't just an action, it's a transformation of who you are. That's exactly why I created Method of Three Eyes, a system that doesn't just help you understand the problem, but integrates it so that it stops controlling your life. So the first step is to see the truth. Stop romanticizing the relationship. The first thing you need to do is stop telling yourself that this relationship is special, that it's fate, that it's karma. There is something magical between you. It may feel like that, but it's not true. Right now, your mind is playing with you. It's searching for excuses to keep you in the familiar. You might even be thinking, but there are good moments, and they said they love me. No, this is part of the abuse cycle. If someone hurts you and then feeds you love, that's not love, that's control. So how do you shift this? Take a piece of paper and make 2 columns. On the left, write, why do I feel good in this relationship? On the right, write, why do I feel bad? Do the best, be honest, write down every single thing. Spend half an hour, or even more on this exercise, and then read it. And then you can even see by the sizes of the columns the truth. After doing that, after sitting with that and realizing what's really happening there, you can ask yourself, if this was my best friend's story, what would I tell her or him? The truth you're afraid to see, that's your key to freedom. This is just one of the deep methods I use in Method of Three Eyes, because until you let go of the illusion, you won't be able to break free. Second step, close the energetic hook. Cut the subconscious bond. You think you can't leave because it hurts. No, you can't leave because on an energetic level, you're still holding on to this person, yourself. Trauma bonds always involve an attachment. If part of you doesn't feel whole, you latch onto the other person as a source of energy. And even when it hurts, you can't pull away. So how to break this energetic hook? So I can give you a visualization practice. You need to close your eyes, imagine a cord connecting you to this person, running straight to your chest. Now look at it and ask yourself, what's still keeping me tied to them? You might hear answers like fear of being alone, fear of never finding someone else, a need to prove that I'm worthy of love. Just listen to what comes up. So once you see what's keeping you attached, you can finally let it go. Cut that cord. Imagine it disappearing. That's the first step. This is exactly how deep trauma integration works in Method of Three Eyes. We don't just understand the problem, we pull it out of the root. So the third step, feel the pain instead of avoiding it. Your mind is clinging to this relationship because it fears that if you leave, the pain will be even worse. But let me tell you something important. You're already suffering. You think leaving will hurt more? But the truth is you're already in pain. You've just learned to endure instead of fully experiencing and releasing it. So what to do? When you feel emotional pain, don't distract yourself. This is the first thing that you want to do, but don't grab your phone, don't turn on the music, don't look for a new person to fill the void, don't drink alcohol, don't smoke. Close your eyes. Let yourself sink into this feeling and say, I'm not afraid to feel you anymore. I'm ready. The more you run from pain, the longer it keeps you trapped in this relationship. But the moment you fully experience it, you free yourself. This is one of the core principles of trauma integration in Method of Three Eyes. Don't avoid pain, transform it. Step number 4, rewrite your identity. Who are you without this relationship? You can't just walk away because your mind doesn't know who you are without this relationship. It's been a part of your life, a part of your identity. If you're always being the one who fights for love, the one who suffers but doesn't give up, the one who can't live without this person, then you need to create a new identity for yourself. How to do this? Ask yourself these questions and write down the answers on the piece of paper with the pen and your hand. Who am I if I'm not in this relationship? What can I give to myself that I used to seek from this person? What does love look like when it doesn't hurt? Use your imagination. Once you start building a new version of yourself, the old one will naturally fade away. And this is exactly what my clients experience in Method of Three Eyes. They don't just leave relationships, they create a new reality where suffering is no longer necessary. So, a final thought: your freedom starts now. Breaking free from a trauma bond isn't just about leaving, it's about changing your entire belief system about love, about yourself, about your relationships. You can leave, but to do so, you have to allow yourself to change. And I know you're already ready. Now you know this isn't love. You see what's really keeping you trapped, and you now have the tools to free yourself. But here is the most important part. You are not the same person you were 20 minutes ago. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. So why is this moment so important? I know this might feel overwhelming, guys. A part of you is still looking for excuses for your partner, still wanting to believe maybe this time will be different. But there is another part of you, the part that knows life can be so much more than fighting for scraps of love. That part of you is already waking up. It's what brought you to this video. It wants freedom. It wants love that doesn't hurt. You are already choosing differently, even if you don't know how yet. And that choice changes everything. So what's next? I know this topic resonates with each of you in different ways. Some of you have already decided to leave. Some of you are still in the process, and that's okay. And some of you are watching this and realizing, this is about my friend, my sister, or even my mother. So I want to ask you, what part of this video hit you the hardest? What was the biggest truth that was difficult to accept, but impossible to deny? Drop it in the comments. Share your insight, because your comment might be the wake-up call for someone who really needs it. Maybe right now, someone in your life is trapped in this cycle. Maybe it's your best friend who keeps making excuses for her husband, or your friend who's been broken apart but can't walk away. If you want to help them, don't beg. Don't try to convince them. They have their own timing. Just send them this video. Let it do the work for you if it can help. You've already taken the first step. You've already seen the truth. And now you get to decide what to do with it. Freedom starts with awareness, and you're already on that